Oh hi, I'm Rayford and thank you for joining me for some Paragon. Today we got the patch notes for Paragon patch version 44, and I gotta share this with you guys because these changes are crazy, and I'm super excited about this stuff. However, because of the extent of these changes, I'm gonna have timestamps down below, right above where I have the patch notes, so if you guys want to click on over and take a look at those patch notes, look down below. And then if you also just want to find a specific section that deals with something that you are interested in, again, look down below, timestamps, awesome stuff. Let's dive in. First and foremost, there's a video, actually, that Epic used to kind of showcase some of the changes. We're going to take a look at that thing right now. Okay, are you guys excited? Because I'm excited. The Wednesday patch date this week, it can't come soon enough. So let's just dive in with our 5 heroes that are getting some changes. I'm not going to go over some of the rest that just have updates and bug fixes and animation speed changes and stuff. That's kind of just minor stuff. These main reworks are really they are the heart of this patch right now, at least in my mind. So Feng Mao, he's getting his hamstring ability replaced. It's with a new ability called Crippling Strikes. It's a passive, so after 4 successful hits or 20 seconds, his blade will glow. The next basic attack will deal damage in a wider arc and apply a move speed slow for 2 seconds. So it starts at 20%, ends at 29%, and it's a 3% increase in the 2 middle levels. Dealing damage with abilities will also trigger the slow. On top of that, he's going to have visual effects on his arms kind of based on his number of stacks, and his blade will glow to indicate the state of the passive effect. Next up, his Earth Shatter has been updated, and it's called Imperial Sentence now. So Feng Mao slams his blade on the ground, dealing ability damage to all enemies in a line in front of him. That's unchanged. That kind of animation, unchanged. Now deals 150, 275, and then 400 plus power rating. So he will execute heroes below a health threshold of 300, then 425, then 550. Executable heroes are marked with a special visual effect. I like this. This is actually kind of a cool thing, and I hope that we get to see it with more heroes in the future. Sadly, he did have to use it on my poor girl Sparrow, Ripperoni. Reaping Dash has been updated and kind of changed. It now automatically causes Feng Mao to basic attack his target when he lands, dealing an additional 45, 70, 95, and then 120 bonus damage. They've adjusted the teleport to hug the ground whenever possible, and the range has been increased from 800 to 900 units. The cooldown has also been reduced from 10 seconds to 8 seconds at all levels, and the ability now auto-confirms. Finally, Conversion Shield has been changed. It's now called Guardian Shield. The mana cost has been increased from 40 mana to 50 mana at all levels, and the cooldown has been reduced from 8 seconds to 7 seconds. And then finally, just kind of general stuff, his base mana has been reduced from 276 to 248 mana. His base mana regen has been decreased from 1.32 to 1.23, and his move speed has been decreased from 740 to 700. Next up, Gideon. Burden is gone. It was a skill shot. It was unimpressive. Nobody liked it. Nobody will miss it. Nobody loved it. If you say that you loved it, you're a liar. He's now got a new ability which is a lot cooler. It's called Void Breach. Gideon summons a comet projectile that pierces minions and deals 140, 240, 339, and 439 damage. This is awesome. It's like that ability he kind of like underhanded towards the enemy hero, towards the enemy howitzer, and just destroyed his life. I really like this ability. I think it's cool. But this also ties in with Cosmic Rift. So the damage has been reduced just across the board. It used to deal 140, 240, 339, and then 439 damage. Remember those numbers from earlier? Those are the numbers for Void Breach. So Cosmic Rift, all of its damage is basically transferred to Void Breach, and Cosmic Rift now deals 117, 170, 222, and then 275. So at first beginning level 1, it's like kind of a minor change, and then max level it's like a 45% decrease, I think, which is a huge decrease in damage. But it now applies a stun. Sorry, not a stun. It now applies a 20, 24, 28, and then 32% slow for 2 seconds, and the radius has been increased. So it's easier to hit. It applies a slow and just kind of lines up and softens up targets for that Void Breach ability, which is your new bread and butter. These two abilities going hand in hand, it's going to be crazy. Torn Space has had its cooldown increased. It used to be 12 seconds and then 6 seconds at max level. It's now 12, 11, 10, and then 9 seconds. So base level, unchanged cooldown, max level, 50% increase, basically. Black Hole has also been updated, so it now applies a stun effect to all affected targets. The stun only applies once and lasts for the duration of the ability, but it can be broken with cards or with abilities, I guess. The cooldown has been increased from 130, 115, and then 100 seconds to 150, 135, 120. The damage has been reduced from 328, 450, 562 to 224, 304, and 384. So he has gotten a nerf as far as his ultimate goes, but getting the addition of that stun is huge. So now enemy heroes can't just like run out of it basically all willy-nilly. Very interesting to see. Actually, as somebody that plays Seraph a lot, I'm curious if that stun applies in the beginning of the ability, and if so, if it's something that like Seraph's Heavenly Fury, I think, can the one that gives her the immunity. I wonder if that can avoid the stun effect. I'd be interested to try that out here at some point after going up against an enemy Gideon. But all around for Gideon, big changes. Big changes indeed. So he's a bit more on the CC side now. Black Hole just stun, and then Cosmic Rift has a slow that replaces Burden and is better and deals damage. And he's got an ability to replace Burden and deals a bunch of damage. It's crazy. That's crazy, Alpenhauer. Next up is Grux. So right away, charge is gone. It's been replaced by an ability called Crush. Grux lunges forward a short distance, dealing 47, 70, 94, and then 117 ability damage in a short duration knockup to enemies within 250 units of his destination. It's got a 12-second cooldown, costs 75 mana. That's that sort of like uppercut thing that he did to the phase in the video. It looks really cool. I'm interested to try this out. Double Pain has been reworked. It's now an attack with 100% cleave that deals 120, 130, 140, and then 150% of Grux's basic damage, plus 30, 40, 45, and then 50 basic damage, bonus damage to all affected enemies, and the cooldown has been increased from 3 to 8 seconds. So you can't spam it as much, but it deals a bananas amount of damage. Smash and Grab has been adjusted. They've adjusted all the visual effects. The pull and damage are now synced up with the visual effect wave, and now the effective range of stupid Smash and Grab has been increased from 700 to 850 stupid units, and the mana cost has been decreased from 90 to 60 stupid mana. This is stupid. As somebody that plays Sparrow, a carry with no stupid escapes, every time I see a stupid Grux coming out of the stupid jungle or whatever with this stupid Smash and Grab that I can't ever avoid because it's like basically a football field, it's stupid. And actually, as a Grux player, I'm super excited. Well, if you play Grux, I'm excited for you, but you're also stupid. Unless you're on my team. But then, otherwise, you're stupid. Then Warlord's Challenge. The bonus basic damage has changed from a flat bonus to a percent increase. So it used to be 22, 44, and then 66 basic flat bonus of damage. It's now 50, 100, and then 150 damage, or 150% increase. The area stun has been removed. The mana cost has been reduced from 75 to 50 mana. The duration has been increased from 8 to 14 seconds, and the cooldown has been increased from 90, 70, 50 to 110, 95, 80 mana. Fortunately, as a Sparrow main, Grux's base mana is decreased from 276 to 246. His mana per level is decreased from 13 to 12. His base mana regen has decreased from 1.32 to 1.22. His basic attack damage has decreased from 68 to 65, but his attack damage per level has increased from 2.9 to 4. His health per level has decreased from 85.8 to 77.2. His health regen per level has decreased from 0.14 to 0.13, and his basic attack timer has increased from 0.85 to 0.95. So some good changes all around, I think, for Grux. I think that this is a pretty well balanced update for him. Basically, if you get caught with like Crush or Double Pain, you're gonna be on the world of in a world of hurt. Actually, if you play Grux, I'm interested to hear what you guys think about this, because I think that being on the receiving end of it, this is gonna hurt a lot, and I think that's something a Grux player would be happy about. Next up is Rampage, the 4th of 5 heroes that's getting an update. So Pounce is gone. No, it's just gone. It's out. By Pounce, we hardly knew ye, except a lot of people played Rampage because he's actually super fun because he could pounce everywhere. It's now been replaced by an ability called Rumble. Rampage pounds the ground with both fists, dealing 94, 152, 211, and then 269 ability damage between 2 hits, and that applies a 25, 30, 35, and then 40% slow to all nearby enemies for 2 seconds. It's got a 7-second cooldown and costs 50 mana. Boulder Throw. Rampage can now hold the boulder until it is cancelled or thrown, but Rampage moves more slowly while holding the boulder. Here's the kicker though. The mana is no longer consumed unless if the ability is cancelled. So I don't know if many of you remember this, but many patches ago, mana wasn't consumed for Boulder Throw unless you actually cast the ability. So you could grab the rock, and then if you cancel the ability, no harm, no foul. But then at one point, Epic changed it so that the mana was basically consumed whether you threw the rock or didn't throw the rock, and Rampage players were pissed off about it because, that was you could start to kind of commit to a battle, but then if nobody made any moves or nothing was really happening, then you could cancel the rock and you weren't out the mana. And now it's just kind of getting reverted. I don't know. I think it's funny, but that's just me, I guess. King of the Jungle, the passive health regen has been... Oh, I'm sorry. Going back to Boulder Throw, so the mana cost has also been decreased from 100, 115, 130, and 145 to 90, 100, 110, and 120. Now King of the Jungle, the passive health regen has been increased from 0.75, 1, 1.25, and 1.5% to 1, 1.4, 1.8, and then 2.2%. The bonus damage duration has been increased from 5 seconds to 8 seconds. Enraged, they've increased the regeneration gain from King of the Jungle from 3, 4, 5, 6 to 5, 7, 9, and then 11%. The mana cost has been reduced. It was 50, 30, 10 mana. Now it's 50, 25, 0. It costs 0 mana to go ahead and cost Enraged at max level. Holy what? Oh my god. Can you imagine? Rumble's radius is increased and its cooldown is reduced from 7 seconds to 3 seconds for the duration of Enraged. Rampage has also seen some adjustments, so his basic defense has been increased from 27.8 to 31.7. His move speed has been increased from 695 to 705. His base health has been increased from 686 to 733. His health per level has been increased from 75.5 to 78.1. And his base health regen has been increased from 1.14 to 1.22. So Rampage, I think, is in a much healthier spot. At least in gold, I never really saw many Rampages. Now, I think that with these changes, we're going to see some more of him. He's a much tankier hero now. His damage across the board hasn't really changed. He's got Rumble, which is a new thing, and it gives him some CC. But across the board, he's not dealing more damage, but he can just take a much bigger pounding, especially if he's in the jungle and you're trying to fight him. So I'm interested to see what this translates to as a Rampage, occasional player, really. And now finally, the man, the myth, the legend, Johnny Cage with guns. I mean Twin Blast. Whatever. So Rapid Fire is gone. It's now been replaced by an ability called Hot Shot, which is a passive. So after hitting 12 basic attacks, the next 12 basic attacks will critically strike for 10, 15, 20, and then 25% bonus damage, and it will lock to heroes. And then Hot Shot's critical strike damage applies to structures. If the 12 shots are not consumed, this lasts 10 seconds. So one thing to note, we do have confirmation about this, that little part that says locks to heroes, it's not like an auto lock. I think really what it is it's more forgiving if you're aiming in the direction of an enemy hero. So this isn't like a lock on ability. It's not like, Morgash's mark or whatever. No, this is, I think, just more forgiveness when it comes to like sort of aiming at an enemy hero, maybe a wider reticle, who knows, something. But this also really ties in with his double shot, his auto attack. So a twin blast fires his right gun, then follows up with his left one. The bullet from the right gun applies on-hit effects and deals 75% of his normal basic damage. The bullet from the left gun does not apply on-hit effects and deals 25% of his basic damage. So here's the thing though, there's also very little delay between his two shots. I'm sure early game this is not going to be the case, but mid and late game, it's moot basically. It's one shot essentially. But here's the thing, a shot from each gun counts towards hot shot. So right gun is one count towards hot shot, left gun is one shot towards hot shot. You can actually kind of see it in the footage I'm showing right now. It's tough to see, but it is very clear that like one shot, two shot, like for one auto attack applies one stack each of hot shot. So really you just gotta land 6 basic attacks. If you can land 6 basic attacks on enemy hero or enemy minion and then a hero, or structure minion hero in whatever order, it doesn't seem like it has to be like consecutive hits. So this is a lot like Sparrow's Relentless, I think it is. The one where like consecutive attacks or attacks on minions or heroes or whatever deal additional damage. This is like that, but scarier actually. Yeah, we'll see how this works out. I have a feeling this is going to be maybe a little bit too strong, because this is even 10% bonus damage. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. It's not. I mean, who knows? Who knows? We'll see. But that's not all. So grenade has been updated. Twin blast fires a grenade that explodes after bouncing or hitting an enemy. It deals 47, 70, 94, and 117 ability damage, and applies a 12%, 16%, 20%, and then 24% move speed slow for 1 second. The grenades have 3 charges, so now it's a bit more of a skill shot. You can't just aim at the ground basically and summon an explosion from the depths of Agora. You actually have to skill shot this. But this also ties in with Rocket Dash. So activating Rocket Dash now applies 1 charge of grenade. They've improved Rocket Dash to more accurately travel the 650 unit distance. So we're seeing a lot more synergy with Twin Blast's abilities. Rocket Dash feeds into Grenade, which if you're trying to escape or chase down an enemy hero and can land that skill shot, helps you chase them down. Double Shot feeds into Hot Shot. There's a lot more synergy here. It's very interesting. It's a little intimidating, honestly. But I guess, time will tell. We'll see what happens. And then finally, Ventilate now deals damage faster and has minor homing projectiles. I'm going to guess this is like a soft lock. It's, yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens here. I doubt it's going to be like Grimm's GTFO, but I do think that the projectiles are going to kind of, sort of soft lock towards an enemy. We'll see. And the next up, we have Cards and Gems. So, Call of the Week. This will actually feed back into sort of some of the minion updates here in a second, but it no longer executes minions below 20% max health. Instead, it increases your tolerance for executing a minion by 50 minion health. So again, I'll go into that here in just another minute, but bear with me. Lord Vostok, they've reduced the gold lost every 10 seconds from 100 to 85 gold. Under Knowledge, for Static Trap, now it deals 50 ability damage to the rooted target. In Chaos, Thorned Yomi now properly reflects damage dealt from cards. Tireless Reaper fixed an issue where it would not reduce the mana cost of the next ability cast if purchased while dead. All movement speed slows and speed boosts have been converted from flat values to comparable percentages. So now if a card, say, like it gave you a 150 movement speed increase, it'll now be a percentage that essentially equals 150 movement speed. So you're going to see some updates to numbers. Really, nothing should really change. Some polish and bug fixing. Damaging aura cards now properly put the card owner in combat. And for Gems, Spell Shield It should no longer be removed when Greystone blocks a basic attack with his deflect ability. Alright, so next up, they call it Monolith, I call it change everything related to minions and buffs and raptors. So I said earlier, Call the Weak, increase the tolerance for executing minion. That's because minions are being redesigned. It's a two-step process. So the first step starts on Wednesday on patch version 44. So basically, when you damage a minion roughly below 20% health, that minion can be executed and you'll be rewarded with the last hit. The second step is going to be a redesign of art, highlighting different states of damage to expose a minion's weak center. That's going to come in version 44.3, so in a couple weeks from now. Epic's reasoning in this is that last hitting is not very clear in MOBAs, and we want to make it better in Paragon. These changes allow you to clearly understand when you can last hit with any hero and play less of a stand and wait game. Our goal is to let you focus on hero-to-hero combat as opposed to idly watching minion health bars. And that's something Epic, I think, has kind of been aiming more towards with all these changes that we've been seeing. So they really want to focus on hero-to-hero combat and sort of forcing team fights at key objectives. So while as somebody that plays carry and is used to last hitting and kind of likes that early farming phase because that can make a bit of a difference early game and later in the game in general, at the same time I do also accept the fact that like this does mean you don't have to devote as much attention towards last hitting. I don't think it's a bad thing. Right now I'm just kind of adopting a wait and see, but regardless, this is the direction that we're going. I can get on board with it. It does make it easier to sort of keep an eye on enemy heroes, and it means I don't really have to worry about performing in front of a support who wanted to play carry but was like last in the draft order, is now salty at me because I'm the carry, and spams me with good job every time I miss the last hit. You know, just for that, I'm on board with this, actually. Just for that. So minions can now be executed when attacked with low health. Their health bar will now turn red when that player's next basic attack will execute that minion. Large white jungle minions have had their health increased. Large white jungle minions have had their health increased from 980 HP to 1100 HP, and the green buff minion has had his health increased from 1500 to 1550. For structures, ability damage no longer deals damage to structures, and the core has been reworked, so it no longer fires an AoE blast which hits all enemies, and now fires a single target attack similar to how towers and inhibitors currently work. Attacks deal 320 damage per attack, and the attack speed still scales based on how many inhibitors have been destroyed. So I have a feeling this isn't going to quite one-shot one minion, or like a normal minion, but it'll definitely two-shot for these large white minions, or for super minions, assuming they've got the same health pool as like a large white jungle minion. This will probably be a 3 or 4 shot kind of thing. I'm interested in this. Moving right along for something they call objectives. We've got a new one called Black Buff. It's a new buff out on the field. So they've added a new black jungle camp in the offlane jungle, which grants something they call Hunter's Sight. Hunter's Sight now basic attacks slow movement speed of enemy heroes. So if you're a melee hero, attacking enemy will deal a 20% slow, and if you're a ranged hero, it applies a 15% slow. And it also grants vision of enemy heroes in a large radius around you, but it does not reveal shadow plane units. And then it also shares the same health and damage values as the green buff minion, so you can really use this to help out with those saucy offlane ganks. I'll actually kind of point out where the black buff minion is located on the HUD rework later on in this video, so stay tuned for that here in a second. But we've also gotten Raptors, like an update. Basically, Raptors are updated. So Raptors, plural, gone. Raptor, singular, present. His name is Fangtooth, and he wants to murder you. So right away, Fangtooth is a new objective on the map. If you attack him, his attacks will apply a burn, which deals 3% of your current health per second as ability damage. Fangtooth grants the entire team a stack of something called Mark of Fangtooth, which provides buffs based on how many stacks the team has. So the first kill of Fangtooth, it gives you +4 power and 1,000 gold. The second kill applies +4 power and 10% out of combat movement speed. The third kill gives you +4 power and 15% non-hero damage, and each subsequent kill after that gives you +8 power. So this is huge, actually. This is really big. I feel like, this is, again, pushing more towards Epic wanting fights between players and between heroes and teams and whatever, and potentially fighting over objectives. Now, Fangtooth and Prime Guardian have in-world point of interest icons that reveal whenever they're whenever they're alive, and whenever they're about to spawn. So that's a big thing. Yeah, so it's not like you have to run by the jungle camp or run by the raptor camp to see if Raptor Fangtooth is there. Now you'll actually be able to know for sure. And then when he dies, you're going to know. Trust me, you're going to know. They've also updated the names and descriptions for all the buffs, for all the river buffs. So the black buff, again, the new one, Hunter's Sight. Green buff is now called Shield of Zekin. The red buff is now called Amplification Aura. The orange buff is now called Echo Orb. The blue buff is now called Swiftness Orb, and the purple buff is now called Shadow Orb. None of the other effects have been changed. Again, black buff is new, but nothing else has really been changed. Okay, so next up, the HUD rework. And I want to start off by saying I like this. They focused a lot on what's in sort of your cone of vision, sort of everything in the middle, and then kind of expanding outwards. And sort of the further out it is, the less important it is, really. The less necessary it is to know right now. So just kind of starting at the top middle with your health and mana bars, I really like this look. It reminds me a lot of Final Fantasy 13. It reminds me a bit of Final Fantasy 15 as well. It's also important information, so it's not quite dead center where you don't want stuff kind of obscuring, what's going on with combat, but it is also right there, and it's, at least in my mind, it's easier to glance up at it rather than glance down towards it. I don't know. But again, I really like this effect. Moving over, I guess actually we'll cover the top, left and right at the same time. So left side contains your team with their health and mana bars, and right side contains the enemy team. Now, I don't quite know if we're going to see enemy team health and mana, assuming you've got sight on them. Epic in the patch notes did say that it shows major status for ally and enemy players. I do think that if an enemy is within sight, their health and mana pool should display on their player frame, but that's just me, I guess. Being able to at least see your allies' health and mana right away is a big change. It's nice. I like it. I'm cool with it. It also kind of towards the middle, more towards like your health bars, you can see sort of that Mark of Fangtooth counter. Right now, both teams have 0. But also it's a major thing, so Epic did want to go ahead and display it right there on the screen, so you've got sort of a clue as to what basically is going on. Towards the right, you can also see the minimap, mostly unchanged, though right there you can see the new black buff camp, so that's a new thing again that we went ahead and covered. Nothing else major really. The minimap is the minimap. Just though, to the bottom right of that, there is the in-game timer. It occupies a much less important portion of the screen, which is great. It's not that important, honestly. But right below it, we've got the objective, kill Fangtooth, so he's alive. You can also see, basically that is your indicator that Fangtooth is alive. He's there. So go and kill him. Moving on towards the bottom right, so you can see the 3 cards that our Twin Blast here has equipped. He's got Call to Weak, he has Demolitionist, and he has Sand Speeder. And right below that, you can see the 6 gems he has total, but you can more clearly tell which 3 gems he has active and which 3 gems are not active. I really like this. I think this is a nice change. It's just nice. Yeah. Plus, it also kind of ties in. So the shop, it used to be G to open up unlocking ability points and everything. Now it's just Control. Control lets you go ahead and upgrade abilities and then also your attribute points. So to tie in with that, it used to be you hold G or you press G and then you click on which attribute point you want to upgrade. Nope. Now it is a hotkey, so hold control and then press 1 for ability, 1 for agility, 2 for vitality, and 3 for intellect. Yay for hotkeys. Having to do less clicking is awesome, and then you can still also hold control and then press E to upgrade your E or your Q or R or whatever. So awesome little change. Yeah, so it's an awesome, nice little quality of life thing that actually ties in well with another quality of life aspect, and that's the fact that you can now, like, you can switch the order of cards and you can swap card locations. So say instead of Call of the Week here, we had, say, a cursed card, whatever cursed card, right? And then you still had Demolitionist and Sandspeeder. But say he wanted, say our Twin Blast here, wanted to get rid of Demolitionist and put in another activatable card. It used to be before you couldn't unequip a cursed card. You can't do anything with it. Once you put it there, it's there. But now you can actually move its location. So like you can unequip Demolitionist, move the cursed card over to the middle, or swap their locations flat out. This doesn't unequip it, doesn't trigger the unequip effect. And for those that utilize any kind of growth cards, cough, growth totem, then it also doesn't cause you to lose any of those growth stacks, which is a huge quality of life change. It's so minor, but I can't believe we didn't have it to begin with. Every time like I look at the patch notes, I'm like, yes, success baby emoji meme. Moving towards the bottom middle. So I like this sort of option to upgrade abilities, like kind of like the glow and the fanfare here. To me, I guess it's just visually pleasing. It's cool. It kind of ties in with sort of again, a more pleasing kind of visually aesthetic. The hold control to upgrade thing is nice. You can also see just above that, he can't use his E ability right now, which he's trying to use because it's still on cooldown for 3 seconds. So again, pertinent information right there up in the middle, right next to his hot shot stacks, which I think is now at 4. So the more important thing is, the closer to the middle it is, which is awesome. Bottom left, again, less useful information, but stuff like eventually you're going to want to see is his current level, his KDA, his minion kills, and how much gold he has. One quick note, how can a level 6 Twin Blast have no kills, no deaths, no assists? 1 minion kill, 5,000 gold, 3 cards, 3 gems, and it'll only be 3 minutes and 40 seconds into this game. What in the world? Dude, good on you, Twin Blast. Props. Moving on over to the left, that's where we actually see the buffs that he's currently got active. I believe debuffs are also going to be featured here as well, but you can see what they are, what they do, and how long they last for. So also, again, super pertinent information, also just rad. Oh, and one thing I did fail to mention here early on is the fact that, like, in this icon for Twin Blast, you see that little blue diamond there in the bottom right? That indicates that his ultimate is active. I missed it initially when I went over the hero portraits thing because it's that obscure, and I really hope that, like, Epic, with this goal to make, you know, more relevant combat information more relevant, they update that or point it out or something. Because even though I knew this before going into this video, when I got to that hero portrait thing, I totally glossed over it because it's not a pertinent thing right now. It's not obvious. It's not easy to see. So again, just a minor thing. I hope that they update that or change it or something. But I mean, overall, a major change. I really like it. So the HUD, from me, thumbs up. Just major thumbs up all around. Okay, and finally, just sort of wrapping up stuff. So the big thing here is movement speed slows no longer stack with each other, so only the greatest magnitude slow will be applied to the hero. So the example they use here, say you get affected by a 50% slow that lasts for 1 second, but also a 20% slow that lasts for 3 seconds. So for that 1 second, the hero will be slowed by 50%. When that slow expires, the hero remains slowed by 20% for another 2 seconds. So they no longer stack on top of each other. It's no longer 50% for 1 second and then 20% for 3 seconds. This is a nice change. I dig it. Slows for backpedaling, strafing, and attacking also follow these rules. If a hero is slowed by 20% while backpedaling and a 10% speed slow is applied, they'll continue to be affected only by the backpedal unless they begin to move forward. It doesn't affect movement speed boosts. Those will continue to stack additively. But again, it's just minor little combat change, not a huge update. And finally, for store content, so Galactic Raider Grux has been added to the store, as well as the Norgood Pillar banner, and there's some new pack offers and everything. If you play any matches versus AI, I would really recommend clicking on over and taking a look at this stuff. There's a lot of updates to the AI, mostly involved with how they behave in combat. They've also got access to cards and decks that are better geared towards their normal roles. And then the difficulty's also been adjusted a little bit. Again, if you play versus AI, I'd click on over and take a look at this stuff, because there's quite a few notes here. And then finally, for loot crates, so Marine and Royal Undead Sparrow have been removed from the loot crates, and Blush and Bronze Mecha, Terror, Iggy, and Scorch are also being removed from the store. Anyway, guys, that's it for me. I hope that you enjoyed. Leave your comments down in the comment section down below. I'm curious to hear what you guys think of what's coming with this patch. Do you think Twin Blast is going to be overpowered? How sick is that Grux skin? What about Fangtooth? Can I just call him Fangy? What that kind of stuff. Just share it with the world, with the Weber nets. We want to hear these things. Anyway, guys, again, major changes coming our way. Overall, I think it's all good. And I'm excited to see how the game handles after version 44. So that's it for me. Have a fantastic day, you wonderful croutons of awesomeness, and I will talk to you in the next one. Okay, thanks. Bye.